Hey everyone, welcome back. Now, it's a little bit of a special day as today's actually the second year anniversary the of the channel. So, had a couple ideas planned here and there, but didn't really don't really have had the time between when I had the idea and then when I came to come up with the plans. Like for instance, do a couple builds here and there, but of course, as said, don't didn't really have time to do stuff from before it came too late or irrelevant, perhaps. So figured a little bit, just give a little bit of elaboration on the beginning of the channel and then my personal interest on hobby building. So with that said, originally I started getting into hobby about 2017 ish, possibly 2016, but how it was my grandpa had got some mall kits from one of his coworkers. He figured that would be a good building exercise for me, seeing how bit creative and then getting stuff to do. So I built the mall, which unfortunately I don't. I probably still have them somewhere, but a lot of them ended up as part donors. So had those up, and then wasn't actually until about 2018 or 2019 ish where I started getting really into the hobby. So one of the actual stars was the one kit that I have actually did a as a first truck build actually, as I had a couple cars done, was actually the AMT Firestone Ford, which I know a lot of people are saying that it's not the best kit to work with, and it's got its flaws, but honestly, if you know what you're doing, it shouldn't be that hard to make stuff work, or at least that's how I see it. So yeah, and then got had did actually build quite a few malls between that time, and then about it was January of 2021 where out of boredom I decided, you know what, probably be a good idea to actually document some of the some of some of my builds that I do. Now, originally before when I started filming, get a couple things done here and there, but then when I started doing YouTube, didn't really have the space at the time to do proper builds. So had a couple in odds and ends of kits that I had. So pretty much originally, or for a little while, did pretty much kit unboxings and reviews, but not the full builds. So one thing that I may be doing in the next week or so, I'm going to take out one of my original kits that I did a video on for quite some time ago, see what the conditions like on it, and then of course do part of my rebuild series, which I'll get to in a moment. Got Gonna get that stuff together and then do a video getting everything put back together, showing how the kit would have been properly built or have the kit properly built up and for display. So there's that, and then got a couple other did a couple other odds and ends, and then about late 2021 started getting into the big rig stuff, which some may remember I got it was the AMT reboxing of the Italeri Ford LTL 9000 and Revell auto transport trailer. Those ones I built up, and then that to this day is still one of my more popular series builds I've done. So that's good. And then had a couple other small builds here and there. Then eventually going into 2022, things kind of slowed down a bit, but I did have some more big rigs and smaller kit stuff built up. So so there's been quite busy over the last 2 years actually, and with that, for something that I figured to do, might as well. I know there's probably a lot of new people since when I first started, which Currently, I believe we're just about 50 people short of hitting 500 subscribers, which for a startup channel, I'm quite impressed with being able to reach the audience of everyone. And I know there's some that watch, but that knowing the fact that people are actually watching this stuff, it does give good confidence that I'm doing good. So, which is always a nice thing to see. So, with that said, what I'm going to be doing is going back down to the basement actually, where I keep my stash of stuff, and just pretty much show how I keep everything on display, as things have changed up over the last year and a half or so. So, with that being said, I'll go down there and show you with the stuff that I've got and how I display everything. So down here in the basement now, so this is where I pretty much keep all my stash of stuff. So it's quite a bunch of odds and ends. But first, starting off down below, I do have a little bit of a spot where I keep a bunch of my parts, and then some tractor trailers and some other stuff that I haven't quite found room for. So got here some of my multi-packs, mainly from the early 90s. Then going up some more subtle stuff. Then a bunch of bigger stuff with fairly good variety of stuff. Now a bunch of these I've got quite a while that I've never actually gotten around to building. And then here is some of my more larger stuff, plus some multi-packs. So got the 1/12 scale 69 Camaro Z28. This one here actually was found at a hobby store for fairly cheap compared to the original monogram versions. And of course the Chevy pickup High Sierra, which I did a video on earlier last year. Another multi-pack, a Revell multi-pack of a 48 Ford and a 98 Ford. 1/16 scale General Lee, Gone Fishing, and Mach 1 Formula 1 team. Boxes are a bit in rough shape, but everything's there on that. Then a couple more multi-packs, and then a 1/16 scale 55 Chevy on top. And then a little bit of a back row of some odds and ends. Now, really, I don't really have a accurate way of organizing, but I'm going to be working on a few things. So, moving on here, actually, this is how, like I mentioned, this is how I display my models. Just have dresser shelf up top here. So, pretty much going on across, got the Lincoln Futura, which was something that I built as a side project a while ago. Never actually got around to making a video on it. Then got this mining truck, which I'm not sure on what the brand of this might be, but got this in a parts lot of stuff. It's all complete, but there wasn't really any use to make a video on that. Then of course the 1/8 scale Harley chopper. This one here actually was another one that I got a while ago. It was pretty much all painted, ready to go, so had that put together fairly shortly. Again, didn't actually have time to make a video on that. Then I got the pair of Night Stalker Corvettes. Now these here were the ones I built, I believe, late July, early August. Still got the pair here. And then of course here's the here's the Chevy, the 1/16 scale. That one was still a nice build to this day. And got a Ferrari Testarossa, which was actually one way before I was starting to do videos. Revell Bronco. The bumpers fell off. I still have them. Just haven't got around to gluing them all together. Then some classic Fords, 79. A 79 plus a 1970 by Mobius, and then the other one's an AMT. A Lindbergh Crown Victoria. That one was a quick build that I did a while ago. Never did a video on it as well. Cadillac Escalade police package. This one I believe I did a video on, but don't remember too much, or it could have been like 2 years, year and a half ago or something like that. Then of course here another two trucks I had from a while ago. Of course, both of which were way before starting my YouTube stuff, so may do a little bit of a look back at those. So that's that row. Or a couple things almost forgot. Also up here, got both of the sled pulling dragsters of the Tennessee Thunder and the Orange Blossom Special, which those just have sitting here casually. Don't have a good spot for them yet, but I'm sure I'll figure out something. Then of course got some scale metal models of the Mercedes that I actually have a video coming up soon about. And then of course the Smart Roadster, which was, I believe, the second or third video I actually ever did. So got those up on display right there. So now get moved out from there, go on to another space I use for display, which is this rack right here. So pretty much from the top here, got the Piranha Dragster that I did for a Halloween build a while ago. Then Pontiac Rageous, and then plus the Predicta show car, which I did a full video on about a year and a half ago or so. There's that. Like moving down, Ferrari F50. I did a brief video on that. Didn't really go into too much detail, but did get that one done before the New Year's. Turned out nice. And then, of course, the Jaguar XJ220. That one was another one I had a video on last year. Camaro, the 1981 Camaro. Fun build. Then the Pontiac Catalina 70.5 Camaro Baldwin Motion, plus the 67 Corvette USA 1, Pontiac Firebird, and BMW. We got a pair of Pontiacs here, the 82 Firebird, which was a custom build that I had about 2 years ago, about a year and a half, or almost 2 years ago, yeah. And then, of course, the Knight Rider, which I did for the 40th anniversary tribute. 72 Corvette, which came from a rebuild. Then another rebuild of mine that I never did share a video on. The Naz Paula, which still to this day one of my favorite cars that I've built. Another Futura. This one here was already pre-built from a bundle. And then some NASCAR vehicles I've rebuilt over the last little bit. And then, of course, got to have the Kodak, which was my most recent NASCAR build, which I still am working on the trailer and the tractor to go for at. So that's sitting here currently until I get that done. And then this little car here is the 1904 Duroc. That one was another one I did back in summer of 2021. That one's nice. The Plymouth Roadrunner GTX. This one has a Winged Warrior car. This one was another one that I had built, or I had a video series for, but never actually finished it. Hudson Hornet, which I had for part of a group build project. Still looks pretty nice to this day. 67 Charger. This one was another rebuild that I built a while ago. Now this was for a Christmas special back in 2021, which is the Plymouth Prowler, done up in a Christmas theme with some snow residue on it. Then got a 92 Viper. This one here was the Revell Snap-Tight version. And a fun car that I never did a video on that I probably should have is this 1966 Malibu, which is of course the monogram flip nose kit. Which, with saying that, like everyone said, it's a nice kit to work with, and really nice Probably I'll end up getting more in the future. A bit of empty space here for what I have a couple builds ready. Then got the 64 Ford Galaxy, which came from the CalDrag race team combo. So yeah, that got the car here. I do have the trailer and the Falcon that went with it somewhere else that I'm doing a little bit of work with. So don't exactly have those currently. So yeah, so that's pretty much that display here. Of course, got a little bit of some more stuff on display, like I got some NASCAR stuff, along too with some monster trucks, various odds and ends. So moving on to the final section of stuff, actually, got a full height display case. Again, here got one kit here, as haven't found room yet to put it. Then going down below, it's a little bit of a mess, but of course going to be cleaning it up eventually. Of some stuff, like got the F650 Super Cruiser, which I did a video back in 2021. And of course my favorite of my big rigs I've done, of the Ford LTL 9000, as essentially like a personal truck. Then the GMC General, might be a bit hard to see with the light, but still got that here with the trailer. That I did back in, I'd like to say, March or April of last year. So that was a good build to have. Then right here's a bit of a beach diorama that I've been working on for every now and then, of the 65 Chevelle wagon. So pretty much just have it at the beach. I do have a couple, and then of course I got a couple other beach themed models. Still haven't gone around to building them, but when I do, this area is going to be much more organized, hopefully. And of course down below here got some my Legos. Then down below here is actually what I have planned to be the junkyard, as this work keeps a bunch of my bit of a, not necessarily failed attempt, but more like, say, vehicles that either were deliberately junker builds, similar like how with the Dodge D100 and the 352 Pacemaker. Then got some other stuff here, but of course like the 56 Chevy and this Peterbilt, there were builds that were okay, but not exactly pleased with them. So currently have them here with the eventual plan of turning this shelf here into grass foundation and have the area all rusty, or make a lot of vehicles much more rustier than they are. And then of course with some of the junkyard parts I've got, pretty much throw everything on there to make it more realistic. And then of course too got this lower shelf here is a bunch of kits that I have plans for, but it's just going to be a case of see when I actually get around to it, as I did pick up the refuge truck, which this one's going to be a nice one to work with. Snowplow truck, which is actually the original late 70s, early 80s release. Car transporter, which actually have plans to combine with another GMC General, as since the LTL 9000 I built, that one has the car carrier, which I'll show here soon. Countach, a little bit out of place from trailer kits, but currently the only place I got right now to put it. And then some military kits, along with a Larry kit here. Then moving on to the side, since I've started working on the Kodak kit, I've actually acquired a fair few models actually of Kodak diecasts. Pretty much mean like, say, various years, like how, let's hear, like you got some Ernie Irvan era cars, and then of course you got Sterling Marlin, And then a little bit of some exceptions here. Got this Kodak number 77 of Brian Graham. Now another driver that wasn't too familiar with was Mike Skinner. So got that hauler there. Got the hauler here for Sterling Marlin, which this one here is the 1/64 scale, so it's going to be much smaller than the 1/25 scale version I'm working on for Ernie Irvin. So pretty much got that, and then of course got some trading cards of the Kodak race team. So pretty much that. Then going up the shelves a little bit, some are specialty diecast stuff. Then along here with the car trailer that I have for the LTL 9000, which currently at the moment I do not exactly have space to put it. So this is the currently the best spot I've got for now to have it. Of course, when I do get more stuff cleaned out, I'm going to be, of course, having that on display along with a couple more cars. So then a little bit of something else too is that I'm going to have the one car trailer here, with this one here being mostly dedicated for Ford Mustangs, and have the GMC General car hauler, mainly designated for stuff like Camaros and Firebirds. So that's pretty much that, and then yeah, I believe that pretty much covers up everything in terms of how I store my stuff, and then how I put stuff on display. And then a little bit sort of too is that when it comes to putting stuff on display, pretty much just comes down to whatever I have space for and whatever looks best with everything else. So yeah, I believe that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.